Good evening. Many people have heroes. These heroes can be athletes, celebrities, or musicians. I'd like to introduce my hero. Please join me in welcoming my father, Rob Egan.
I didn't know what he was going to say. And I don't know if I could have prepared for it even if I did. Thank you, Drew. Freshmen, what a great night this is. As Mr. Cayley mentioned, you're getting to look forward to heading to the high school building next year, and as your first year of high school ends, I just wanted to share a few things from my experience that maybe will be of help as you think about the next chapter, not only in your schooling, but also thinking about what you may want to do beyond school. There were kind of a few things that came to mind. When I was younger, I was thinking about what I was interested in. And really that set a path for me, unbeknownst to me, for the rest of my life. Baseball was what I loved. So my dad, my older brothers, they loved to play and coach and watch the game. We were fortunate in my neighborhood to have a diamond in our neighborhood park, and we played every chance we got. We were outside playing. Played into Little League and high school, and that's where I met my match, the curveball. That pretty much told me right there that would be about it for my playing days. I listened to games on the radio, though, when I was young. When I was falling asleep while in grade school, I had my radio near my ear. I loved what a Hall of Fame broadcaster by the name of Ernie Harwell, who called games for the Detroit Tigers, did. I grew up in Michigan, about an hour north of Detroit. I knew if I couldn't play, I wanted to do what he was doing for a living. I thought, how cool would that be, being able to go with the team and be able to just tell listeners back at home what was going on with the game. So what did I do when my playing days were over, and how did I turn that interest in baseball into a career path? Well, the curveball, as I mentioned, ended my playing days, but I knew that I wanted to stay involved in baseball, so I found a path that would help me do what I wanted to do for a living. So here's what I did. I turned down the volume on TV broadcasts of the Tiger games and tried to do the announcing. Now, can you imagine I'm 9, 10, 11 years old, and people are looking at me and my family and my friends like, what are you doing? They thought I was crazy, and I probably was. I found jobs that would allow me to get on a microphone. In junior high and high school, I was a PA announcer of basketball games. I learned how to write as a sports editor of our high school newspaper. Then I pursued a broadcasting and communications degree when I went to college. And when I was there, I gained practical experience through internships. They're very important. They let you know whether you want to get into that field for sure, or maybe it's not your bag and you try something else. So then from college, I went to a small radio station in Michigan. And in that town, I met my wife, CK. So an added benefit of pursuing my career, right? I was trying to figure out how to get to call baseball games for a professional sports team. I didn't have a manual saying do step A, step B, step C. But I thought, how can I get there when the path isn't straight? Okay, so far I know I love baseball. I'm interested in it. And I want to pursue things that would help me not play the game, because I found out I didn't really have the talent to play it at a high level, but maybe be able to be a play-by-play broadcaster on the radio. So I found out after going through some of the job experiences in junior high and high school and then through college, I really did want to do this and pursue it. But I couldn't get a play-by-play baseball job right out of college because those are very difficult to get in minor league baseball. So in the early 1990s, the days before the internet, can you imagine that, or cell phones or the iPod, the economy wasn't great, jobs weren't plentiful, and entry-level jobs as a broadcaster paid $16,000 a year. Wow! Can I even eat on that? My first job was at a small radio station in Grand Haven, Michigan, as I mentioned, doing some news and on-air work, and I asked the boss if I could add to the station's high school coverage that they already had with another gentleman calling play-by-play by doing additional games. He allowed me to do that, and I used that experience and my college sports broadcasting experience to get my first job as a radio announcer in baseball. So now I've gone through all of this, high school, college, some job training, internships, and I've gone through my first job out of college, not doing exactly what I want, but still on the same path. So this is where you learn how to get there, but without a straight path sometimes. So I used that experience, and I then learned that I would need to do a couple of other things that I didn't know how to do, or maybe I necessarily didn't want to do, to be able to get to my goal of calling games on the radio. So I was told, in addition to getting the play-by-play job in Salinas, California, which is not too far from San Francisco, I had to move from Michigan to San Francisco, and I had to sell advertising, and I had no idea what I was doing in that regard. So it allowed me to do what I wanted to do, but I had to do those other things to stay employed year-round, and in addition to selling advertising, I sold tickets and did other tasks with that team. Moved to California, away from who would then become my fiance and wife, my wife CK. So that wasn't necessarily comfortable, but I had to do it to get the opportunity. Then I moved from Salinas, California to Johnstown, Pennsylvania, not too far from here, of course. Then down to Charleston, South Carolina for a couple of years, and then to Altoona when the Curve started back in 1999. I advanced from teams that weren't affiliated with Major League Baseball to single A and double A teams that are affiliated with Major League Baseball. And as the Curve's first radio broadcaster, I was expected to continue to sell advertising and tickets and add the PR responsibilities for the team. All of these extras, little did I know it, would help me in my next two jobs, because after 10 years of calling play-by-play on the radio for various teams, the last 6 with the Altoona Curve, it came to understand what was really important. During the time that I was working for the Curve as a radio announcer, things were going well, but something happened to remind me of what's most important. My wife and I were expecting twins in November of 2000. She went into premature labor in August of that year, so it was 3 months early, and we lost the first of our boys just 10 hours after his life begun. And he was just too small to survive. Drew was the other of the twins, and he struggled for 3 months in the hospital in Johnstown, but he survived, and you can see him now, 15 years old, and I'm so proud of him. During the time we spent in the hospital reflecting on the passing of my son, and my faith in God was tested. Fortunately, it wasn't shaken, and the Lord gave me strength. We were blessed with another son 20 months later, Gabe, who's out in the crowd, along with my daughter 2 years after that, Caroline. And then 5 years ago, another daughter, Regina. And they're all here with CK. That's my team, and I'm not going to fill the entire squad, okay? Four is good. We're not going for 9. I found that, this was something after the birth of my first daughter, Caroline. I decided that I needed to get away from baseball, not because I didn't love it, but because it was really time-consuming, and it took me away from CK and the kids. So I decided that I needed to find another job that would allow me to be home more often with the family, and I found that with the Catholic Diocese of Altoona Johnstown as their communications director. I went there, and it was only because I had these previous work experiences in baseball, learning how to do public relations and media relations, that allowed me to get the job in the first place. So you can see, again, things that I'm going through, the experiences that I've gone through, not necessarily a straight path, but the path that I figured I'd wind up on at the end, but they're all getting me to places where I've really, really enjoyed and had a good career. So while there at the diocese, I also started a daily sports talk show on the ESPN radio affiliates in Altoona and State College, kind of scratched that sports itch. And then in 2008, I returned to the Curve when the original owners of the club reacquired the team and asked me to join them in the position of the general manager. I love what I do. I have balance in my life by remembering priorities, and I'm constantly stimulated by the challenges that the job and life in general bring. So in recapping, just a few points, 5 points. Find out what you're interested in. If you don't already know it, kind of do it through discovery. Turn your interest into a career path. Then you can see how you can get there even when the path isn't straight. Be willing to do extras to reach your goals, and don't lose your priorities in your career pursuit. Remember, there are other things more important. Thank you very much. and best of luck to all of you as you head to 10th grade.